Welcome to the CEO Breakfast and Strategy Series for 2017-2018. I am Brian Brees, the president of St. Norbert College. I'm delighted that you're here with us today. And as many of you know, for 20 years, the series has been providing an opportunity for area executives to present and to hear from these great executives in the area, our top CEOs. This resource is being brought to you through the generosity of our presenting sponsor, WPS Health Solutions. Yeah. There's always one in the crowd. I'll get to you in a minute. The title sponsors, Myron Construction, Insight Publication, Johnson Bank, Johnson Insurance, and the sponsor of this session, Marco. At your tables, you have folders with information about our sponsors in there. I really encourage you to take that with you and make good use of that information. Could you please join me in giving all our sponsors a round of applause for support? At this time, I'd like to invite Father Mike Brennan, College Chaplain and Director of Norbertine Vocations, to offer grace.
Good morning. Good to be with you. On this snow-filled April day, I thought it'd be good to read about some green pastures. The Lord is my shepherd. There is nothing I shall want. In green pastures he makes me lie down. To restful waters he leads me. He restores my soul. He guides me along right paths for the sake of his name. Even though I shall walk through the valley of too much snow, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You set a table before me. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Indeed, goodness and mercy will pursue me all the days of my life. I will dwell in the house of the Lord for endless days. Reminded of the deep care and compassion that our Lord has for all of us, we pray together. Bless us, O Lord, in these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty, through Christ our Lord. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Cathie Tierney. Cathie joined Community First Credit Union in 1976 as a teller and receptionist. At that time, the credit union had just over $1 million in assets, had one office, and 6 employees. Over the years, Cathie continued to learn the business and progressed in her career, becoming the Vice President of Marketing and Branch Operations. Cathie was promoted to Executive Vice President in 1993, and in January of 1994 was named President and CEO of Community First. During her 24-year career at the helm, the credit union has grown to nearly $3 billion in assets, has 25 full-service and 10 non-traditional branch locations throughout northeastern Wisconsin, and has 512 team members. Ms. Tierney recently completed her term on the Federal Reserve Board's Community Depository Financial Institutions Council for the Chicago Federal District. Under Wisconsin Governor Jim Doyle, she served on the Governor's Council for Financial Literacy and is a passionate supporter of lifelong learning, committed to making financial education available to everyone. She received the Governor's Financial Literacy Award from Governor Walker in 2016. Cathie is a former chair and continues to serve on the National Association of the State Chartered Credit Unions Executive Council as a trustee of the Wisconsin Credit Union League's Unity Fund and is vice chair of the Wisconsin Credit Union Foundation. She's also very active in the community, serving on the boards of Secure Insurance, Habitat for Humanity, Fox Cities, chair of the Community Foundation of the Fox Valley region, the Fox Cities Building of the Arts, Riverview Gardens, and New North. Please welcome an extremely busy and very successful Cathie Tierney.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take this down because I want to wander around a little bit, take a page out of my friend Dave Voss's book. He said, my goodness, to be maybe the rose between the thorns, or as Amanda, our chief of staff, like to say, well, you're the main event, because my opening act was Dave Voss last month, and we've got Mark Murphy coming up, so it's an interesting combination. But I really appreciate the opportunity to spend just a little bit of time with you this morning and talk about a variety of things. My topic, Find Your Tribe, Love Them Hard. Does member ownership really matter? Has a lot of different components to it. How many of you have read the book Tribes? Anybody here? Got a few takers. It's an interesting concept, and one that really resonated with me given the type of business and the kind of business that Community First is as a member-owned financial cooperative. I believe very strongly in the power of passion and love in the workplace. I know the HR folks in the room get a little nervous when we start talking about love at work. However, I think that there's a very important and special place to love the ones you're with, right? And we're with each other at work a lot of time during the day. So tribe. What is a tribe? People with shared interest and a way to communicate. So this is where the audience participation part of my presentation comes in. So let's talk, if we could for a minute, about some tribes that you might belong to or think about, right? There's the family tribe. We all belong to the tribe of our family, right? That's the one tribe we don't get to choose. We're born into it, but they're with us for our entire lives. What other kinds of tribes are there?
Friends.
Friends, the friends that we choose, the folks that we hang with. What about the tribe of school? Think about St. Norbert's and the Green Knights. Think about UW-Madison, Marquette, the Golden Eagles. Woohoo, Mr. Bergstrom. We have John Sabo here today, I think, or maybe not. But he is one of the, there he is, the development director at St. Norbert's. So as you think about what he does and how he does it, the idea of the affinity, the kindred spirits of folks who went to St. Norbert. Brian went to St. Norbert. That's where he graduated, and here he is back with his tribe. And you know people all over the country who've had that experience, and it's long behind them, but they're still very connected and passionate about the place they chose to go to college, right? Tim Bergstrom, Marquette University. I mean, everywhere you go, everybody you talk to, you know, when you see that logo, you're connected. There's that kindred spirit. Hi, Cath. What other kinds of tribes are there? We have churches. Father Mike spoke with us this morning, the tribe of church and the importance of that in people's lives. Then we've got Harley-Davidson, the Green Bay Packers, Apple. Think about those businesses in the context of tribe. People are attracted to Harley-Davidson. It has a very distinctive brand, look, feel. They've had an interesting ride, if you will, over the course of their history. People are so passionate about being part of the Harley-Davidson tribe that they actually tattoo the logo on their bodies. Right? And Apple is a really interesting story when you think about, tribes have been with us since the beginning of time, but the idea of how they've evolved over time and how in today's world, technology and the internet and social media has taken it to a whole new level. You look at Apple and it's a global tribe. People who have those devices who, and it's not the same, you know, with Androids. I mean, I'm sure there's maybe a small Samsung tribe, but you look at, right? You look at Apple and people are just absolutely fanatic about that brand and being attached to it. I think about driving down the road when you buy a brand new car. You don't pay a lot of attention, and all of a sudden, every car you see is the car you bought. And you feel that certain little tug when you drive by and, you give them the nod, right? Because now we're part of the same family. Tribes need to be authentic and relevant. And it really comes down to what Simon Sinek talks about, the why. It's not what we do that attracts people to us, it's why we do it. So here's a really cool example, a really recent example of an interesting tribe and the impact of technology. Moms run this town. Any members here? Moms run this town. So you know that we sponsor the Community First Fox Cities Marathon presented by Myron Construction. And we're going into our 28th year. In the past year, this organization, this tribe has come into being, and it's a free running club for women. Moms run this town. It was started by a woman, a new mom, back in 2010 in another part of the United States, who was out running and just felt, you know what, it's kind of lonely running by myself. I need some running partners. So using the auspices of the internet, she goes home, she thinks about this and thinks, I'm gonna start a group. Moms run this town. She puts it out on the internet, buys the domain name, and lo and behold, within a few years, since 2010, there are hundreds of thousands of members throughout the United States, throughout the nation. And here in Appleton, in the Fox Cities, just a year ago, Ashley Rossmeisel found out about this and started the chapter right here. And inside of 1 year, they have 3,500 members in the Fox Cities. It's fascinating to go out on their Facebook page and see the incredible tribe that they've created, the level of support that these women give one another. It was for camaraderie. It was for somebody to run with or to encourage you to be fit and healthy. But what it's morphed into is so much more than that. Now they're into giving back. So the idea of people coming together in their tribes, and as they're attracted to one another in the cause, they literally continue to grow and expand, and before you know it, the magic just happens and continues. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the story of our tribe, of Community First. It all started back in 1953 at the Outagamie County Highway Department. So that was our first tribe. The credit union movement was just getting its legs here in Wisconsin. And 10 guys who worked together in the county, had different jobs in the highway department, talked about this concept of pooling their resources so they could help one another financially. And they each popped in $10 for the $100 it took to send to the state of Wisconsin for the charter, and they started the Outagamie County Employees Credit Union. Volunteer operation, very simple and straightforward. And it was pretty interesting. And I think I'm gonna let Amanda, our founder, tell just a little bit of that story.
It's mind-boggling to think that where we started, it's grown to this size. You start from scratch. You encourage somebody to make deposits, and after you got enough money, you can maybe then make a loan to somebody. So that's really how it started, people helping people.
So that's the value proposition of our tribe, people coming together to help one another financially. But it's amazing to me, and as Maury said, just mind-boggling. He was one of those 10 who started this organization. And because we have a why, because the why matters so much, and that's what our focus is. We've been able to attract people that are like-minded. And that's the interesting thing about tribes, right? As I started, families, you don't have a choice. You're born in, and I mean, you could unplug, I guess. But with any of the other tribes, you're making a choice. I think it certainly shows the difference. You know, we all have an affinity for our high school, but why college means so much more, because we chose to go to that school. We made that choice willingly and knowingly, and that's the connection we have. So the interesting thing with us is that every day people get to decide and choose. They can choose Community First, or they can choose to go to a different financial institution. We understand that, we respect that, but what we try to focus on and how we try to attract people is not what we do, because lots of places do it, but why we do it, and that makes all the difference for us. So does member ownership really matter? I was explaining to Father Mike the difference between a bank and a credit union. A bank is a for-profit corporation owned by its shareholders for the benefit of its shareholders. It provides financial products and services as a means to an end to benefit its shareholders. It's a wonderful thing and a very necessary thing in this world. The credit union is a not-for-profit financial cooperative. We don't have a separate group of shareholders. Everybody who's got an account with us, everybody who does business with us is a member owner. So all of the profit that we make gets returned to the member owners. A cooperative, just like any other cooperative, but that is the key difference. We offer the same products and services in many of the same ways, in all of the same ways. The difference is really that structure. So the question is, does it really matter? Does it matter to people that they're a member owner? There are many, many credit unions in this country, many people who would tell you, absolutely not, absolutely not. Josh might say, you know what? I don't really care if I'm an owner, because what's important to me is that I get the best possible interest rate. I want the lowest rate on my loan. I want you to pay the most you can on deposits, and I don't want to pay a lot of fees. That's a position, that's a point of view, that's a choice. With us, we believe that member ownership matters. And it's like a lot of things in life, right? So we believe what we tell ourselves. We believe the stories we tell ourselves on a regular basis. If you believe you can't, chances are you won't be able to. If you believe you can do something, the sky's the limit. We believe that this matters to people. And the interesting thing with a tribe is that when you put your story out there, when you make your position known, you will attract people who think and believe the same way. And as that tribe grows, so do your opportunities to spread the word, to share, and to benefit from that important shared connection. Community First connects people wanting to help other people, investing in our community for the good of all, not just a few. And how do we do that? We try to keep that message alive. If you live in the Fox Cities, if you are in our marketplace, which is a 50-mile radius, you see our commercials. We let our members, the people who own us, tell those stories for us. It's very powerful because it speaks to people who feel the same way. And if you hear one of those ads and somebody's telling you, this is why I'm a member owner of Community First, and that resonates with you, then you'll take the extra steps and come and check us out. Every year we have an annual membership meeting. For the last several years at the PAC. This year we're moving to the Expo Center shortly, because it matters. It's for social interaction, it's fun, it's informative, and we vote for the board of directors, our volunteer board, because every member everybody who does business with us has a voice in our organization. They have a say in what happens with the tribe. And I should note that one of our esteemed board members, Terry Toll, with the Community Foundation is here today. So thanks for being here, Terry. How do we keep that message alive with our team? We have quarterly team meetings. We just had one on Tuesday night, again at the Expo Center. Every quarter we get all 500 plus of us together. It takes a lot of effort. It costs a little money. It's an investment, certainly. But we come together to share a meal, to break bread. We think that's very important, to spend time with one another as a tribe. And then we spend a couple hours talking about the business, what's working, what isn't working, and helping people, our people, understand just how important they are to us. One of the things we did this year to help push that idea forward, the importance of our employees and our team in building our tribe, is connecting through words. So everybody chose an individual word to help inspire them, to motivate them for the year. Our teams then got together and chose words. And finally, we chose a word as an organization. And our word for 2018 and beyond, I believe, is Mayraki. Has anybody ever heard of Mayraki? If you're in the IT world, it's actually the name of a router, I think. Somebody used it for a brand. But Mayraki means when you leave a piece of yourself, your soul, your creativity, or your love in your work. When you bring those things to your work. And I think that's a great illustration of why some tribes can be very, very successful, because people come together with their whole beings, their whole selves, not just a compartmentalized, well, it's a transaction, it's work. Dave talked about it last month when he was up here, and how critically important the team is, and spending that time, the beer on the bucket, right? So what's our evidence to believe? I mean, some of you in the audience might be looking at this and thinking, oh my gosh, it's kind of fluffy. She's talking about love. She's talking about tribes, kumbaya. But I'm here to tell you, it works. It's made us a very successful organization. We have solid financial performance for the bankers or the financial people in the room. These metrics will be meaningful. Our return on assets of 1.58%. Typically in the financial services world, a 1% ROA is pretty solid. ROE of 12.5. Our capital, our strength, 13.2. We made $42 million net income last year, right here in northeastern Wisconsin. When we think about, thanks Amanda, evidence to believe, the benefit of being a member owner of a credit union. We're ranked number 4 in the US for a metric that's called return on member. And what it does is it really helps to quantify the value proposition of belonging to a not-for-profit financial cooperative. And I have friends from Fox Communities in the room, and they could be standing here saying the same thing, because it totally applies to them. Our calculated rate give back, and this is done by a third party who does it for institutions nationally, is a 1.15% rate differential. So by being a member owner of Community First, you benefit up to $340 or more per year as an individual member owner. And that's based on looking at net margin and average interest rates that are paid or charged across the country, and just that beneficial differential. My last evidence to believe is that for the last 10 consecutive years, we've received what's called the Crystal Performance Award, being top 10 in the nation for our financial performance and reaching or attaining the 100th percentile. We're one of 3 organizations in the United States that can say this. So I don't, Brian and I were talking and he was doing what he said, a dad brag earlier. I don't do that to do a Cathie brag. I just offer it up as solid evidence that the business model you choose, the way you choose to present your business, to think about things, we all approach it from a different way. And I believe that taking an approach of tribe, loving people, caring about people makes all the difference in the world, and that it really, really matters. So I just want to close with something that I use for our employees to remind all of us on a regular basis how important what we do is. It matters. You matter. Moments matter. Every moment we interact with one another matters. Like the moment a member owner walks through our door and sees a smile on your face. Or maybe that very vulnerable moment when they have to ask for a loan. Every interaction, every moment matters. I mean, holy cow, look what we get to do. Look at the lives we get to impact. We get to be there at the most difficult times of people's lives. We get to be there when they celebrate, buying their first car. I want to finance it. Or their first home, or their first baby. We get to be there at those very special times. We witness people's struggle and pains when they don't understand something and they feel stupid or humbled because their checkbook doesn't balance and they've bounced some checks because their credit score has taken a dive, when they can't find the means to pay their bills and they're working 2 or 3 jobs, or those very, very painful times and moments when they need our help to figure out their finances because the love of their life has been lost and passed away. Our member owners are at the heart of everything we do, and this tribe, our tribe, is why we exist. They're not customers or clients or consumers or patrons. They're member owners, and that means something to us and to them. It's an important distinction that clearly separates our credit union from the rest of the banking world, and it binds us tightly, very tightly, to the people we serve. Member owner means passion, commitment, responsibility, and expectations. It means they have a say and a voice that carries weight on all of our shoulders, and it means they and we have made the choice and have the opportunity to do so much more because we've decided to come together. And behind every one of those member owners, there's an important story. Margaret tells stories very, very well. Some of those stories that our members so generously share with us have become testimonials to validate the work that we do together and to communicate the benefit of belonging to our tribe. The stories are more than just member stories, they're our stories. Stories that make us smile, stories that make us laugh, stories that move us to tears, and stories that make us very, very proud. I like to think it's noble and important work that we do at Community First on behalf of our tribe, finding a way. It's not just a slogan, it's who we are, it's what we do. We're part of something really, really meaningful, something that changes people's lives, makes a difference. When we say we'll find a way, we're giving our word. It's our promise, and it's not just a promise to our member owners, it's a promise to one another as a team. It's a promise to the cooperative movement. It's our promise to the community and to all of you. So yes, I believe that member ownership matters. It does to the Community First tribe, and we're going to continue on our journey of finding a way together and loving each other really, really hard. So thank you. With that, I'll take any questions you might have, and we have some little parting gifts, not buckets of beer, unfortunately. But we do have a little symbol of our love for all of you and our opportunity to be a part of this special tribe here today. So on your way out. Yes, sir.
As your tribe grows, I think that there are new challenges that arise in keeping the tribe together and focused on why. What are those biggest challenges that you see coming from growth, and how do you meet those challenges?
Wow, that is a phenomenal question, because that is the biggest challenge that I personally have, that we have. I say it on a regular basis to our team. Our biggest struggle is, how do we stay small and connected, really connected in the minds and the hearts of our team and our members as we continue to grow. It's one of the reasons that we've decided to be a very local institution. You know, over the years, we've had many opportunities to expand well beyond northeastern Wisconsin, you know, statewide, nationally, there were some opportunities. But we made a decision quite some time ago as a board that we wanted to be a large and very successful local financial institution, because that concept of being able to have deep and abiding relationships with the people we serve is really important. You know, in today's world, with the advent of delivery systems and the internet, and you know, we talk to a lot of young people in particular who were like, you know what, I don't really need to come to one of those 25 branches. However, what we're starting to find as well, while we have to be very relevant there and be able to deliver service how people want it, when they want it, the way they want it, we also are seeing that when you think about your financial life and how it can be good or it can be not so good, and the struggle that puts on you as a human being. You know, folks, you've got employees, you've got friends who, through life's ups and downs, have experienced times when money is a struggle for any variety of reasons. You know, divorce, loss of a job, those kinds of things. All of the things that happen in life impact us there. When things like that happen to you, I know you can Google for answers, but it's my belief, and it's part of what we believe as the tribe. Our tribe, the people who do business with us, are going to want to come and sit down across the desk from us so we can lend a hand. You know, that's such a relevant question, though, in the context of all of the business we do. You know, I even think about Father in church, and you know, how does technology impact, you know, what you do every day, and how people want to receive the information they receive. You know, but there's always going to be that special bond. I'm old school, I guess. I always believe very strongly that there's a certain group of people, and they're not just traditionalists or boomers, or there's a lot of young people too who, when they need answers, when they need advice, you know, they want to sit down and get it from somebody they know. We've got lots of opportunities to get all kinds of information out there, but how do you know what's real, right? Especially in today's fake news world. I think it's an ongoing challenge. It's something, you know, that I wrestle with. I lose a lot of sleep over that, because as a leader too, as the organization's gotten bigger, I mean, we heard Dave last month talk about how Myron started, and here they are today with thousands of employees and offices spread out, you know, throughout the country. It gives you a little pause, because you want to be able to wrap your arms around all your people all the time. And you have to find a way, I think, to bring the right team on board who shares that vision. And as a leader, to communicate it often and as loudly as you can, that this is who we are, and this is what we believe, and this is how we spread the word. So, yes, I'll go ahead.
What is it about Wisconsin that has lots of mutual insurance companies, lots of great credit unions. Is there something in the law, or is there something in the water, in the milk? What is it that makes Wisconsin such a viable place for mutual companies?
That's a great question. Isn't this a great state? It's funny because for credit unions, that's particularly true. And I think it is because we have a very progressive state law here in Wisconsin. All but 2 of our credit unions in the state are state chartered as opposed to being federally chartered, because our law is just really good, and our regulator is easy to work with most times, and very supportive. And Wisconsin had more community chartered credit unions than any other place in the country as well. You know, credit unions typically started as employer based. You know, that first tribe was people who worked together. And then as times went on and the business spread, it started to grow and develop. But you know, the same thing with the mutual insurance companies. It's really kind of remarkable and a point of pride, I think. I don't know about the rest of you. Sometimes I get a little jaded because you travel all over the country, and you know, you're in New York or San Francisco or you know, somewhere, and you say, "Oh, I'm from Wisconsin," and they're like, "Oh yeah, somebody's from Wisconsin." Cheese, Packers. At least we got the Packers. No. But there's so many wonderful things like that make us a very special place, and I don't know. I'd like to just think we're very special people, right? Yes. Oh, he was first.
Well,
sorry.
When you're interviewing a new employee, do you look for that little nugget that they're going to buy into your tribe?
Absolutely, and it's totally remarkable. Amanda Secor, our chief of staff here, and Catherine Marshall, my assistant. I mean, we could tell stories all day long because our brand is so strong and we're very open about who we are and what we believe. We have a tendency to attract like-minded people. I'm a firm believer that culture trumps strategy every day of the week, and you know, it's all about the culture you build. But without fail, you know, when we interview people and we ask them why they want to come to work for us, and especially young people, it's because I want to work somewhere where I know I can make a difference. And our involvement in the community, and I know Dave talked about that too, my goodness, Tim and Bergstrom, those are things that matter to people, and we attract the kind of people that it matters to, and that's what helps to perpetuate it, I think, to drive it forward. Margaret?
So tribe is closely related to culture, and culture, the tone for culture is set by the leadership. What happens when you have a change of leadership? How do you hold on to that culture that you so love?
I think that's another really great point, and something that keeps lots of people up at night. You know, as you look at transitions in companies, that's a difficult thing. If you're promoting from within, you might have a better chance of having somebody that's grown up and embraces the culture. I think what it says to boards of directors as you're hiring, you know, and Brian's a relatively new CEO, you've got to make sure that there's alignment there. Now, every leader's going to do it a little differently or put their own spin on it, but I think, you know, as boards wrestle with succession planning and selecting new leaders, and as leaders are planning for succession and developing folks within their companies, that message, that cultural touchstone, has to be key in everything we do. I mean, it's kind of a roll of the dice, though, sometimes. We all know, right? We all know companies that have been wonderful and iconic, and then they get a new leader, and all of a sudden, things change. Harley-Davidson is a great example of that. I mean, they went through a really tough time after they were acquired by, I'm trying to remember who it was, AFG or somebody like that. Anyway, they were acquired, bought out by a company, and they lost their soul. And it wasn't until, you know, profits started to drop and they started to have problems that they took a look and said, you know what? We lost the magic. It's time to get back. And thankfully they were able to recapture it and bring it back to life. But I mean, do you have a thought on that coming into a new organization?
I think you hit it on the head.
Hmm?
Trying to make sure there's some continuity of the values and the essence of who the institution is and how you want it to be in the world. I think you're spot on.
Yeah. It speaks to the importance of articulating your values too on a regular basis. And you know, when we heard that from Team Myron, I use Myron and Bergstrom and Proforma. They're our own special tribe right now as we just finished our new headquarters building, which you're all invited to come and visit us out there. But it's funny because you find yourself as a person, as a business leader, wanting to spend time with a tribe you're creating of people who are like-minded. I mean, we're very aligned as people and organizations. Our key executive group here in the Fox Cities, you know, we have rich and very meaningful discussions about so many of these things, and that shared opportunity, the opportunity to share those thoughts and ideas help bring us together and make us a better tribe. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for your time and attention this morning. Thanks for participating. Thanks, Brian.
Is it any wonder that the credit union industry here and Community First is so successful? Cathie, I don't know if people know that she was born and raised here. Is it Meraki? Is it Meraki? Meraki? Is that the Meraki? I would like to say on behalf of this group and the entire community, thank you for giving so much of yourself to what you do, for helping us think about tribe, helping us understand the value and the power of the credit union. Thank you for being here today. Let's give her another round of applause. And if you'd like a copy of today's presentation, Amy Kundiger, who is sitting right here, grab Amy and let her know you'd like a copy of that. And please join us for our next CEO Breakfast Series on May 16th, as Cathie said. Mark Murphy, if you don't know who he is, he's the president and CEO of the Green Bay Packers. He'll be joining us for our final one on the campus of St. Norbert College. We hope to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the last few days of winter and the beginning of spring. Thank you.